Once upon a time, in a tranquil village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a wise old man named Lao. Lao had seen many seasons pass, and his life was filled with experiences and stories that he loved to share with the younger generation. One sunny afternoon, as the villagers gathered under the large banyan tree, Lao decided to tell them a story about the four greatest follies a person can make in life. 1. The folly of ignorance. In his youth, there was a young man named Tian who was known for his arrogance and refusal to learn. Tian believed that he knew everything and dismissed the wisdom of elders and the knowledge from books. One day, Tian decided to travel to a distant city to seek his fortune. Along the way, he encountered a farmer who warned him about the treacherous paths ahead, suggesting he take a safer route. Tian, convinced of his superior knowledge, ignored the farmer's advice and continued on the dangerous path. As he ventured deeper into the unknown, the path became increasingly perilous. Dense fog enveloped the forest, obscuring his way. Soon, he found himself lost in a dense forest surrounded by wild animals and without any provisions. Days turned into weeks as Tian struggled to find his way out. His pride shattered and his body weakened from hunger and exhaustion. During his time in the forest, Tian encountered many challenges that tested his physical and mental limits. He faced wild animals, treacherous terrain, and harsh weather. Each day was a battle for survival, and Tian realized the gravity of his mistake. His arrogance had led him into a situation where his life was at risk. After days of wandering, he barely made it out alive. Tian's experience taught him that ignorance and arrogance can lead to dire consequences. He returned to his village a humbler man, eager to learn from others and respect the wisdom of those who had walked the path before him. 2. The folly of indulgence. Lao then spoke of a man named Vu, who was once the wealthiest person in the village. Vu inherited a vast fortune from his parents and indulged in a life of luxury and excess. He threw lavish parties, bought expensive items, and never considered saving for the future, despite the warnings from his friends and family. Vu continued to spend recklessly, believing his wealth was inexhaustible. Vu's mansion was the epitome of opulence. He had servants attending to his every need, and his house was filled with the finest furnishings. Every night, his home was the site of grand feasts and celebrations. Musicians played, dancers entertained, and guests from far and wide came to enjoy Vu's hospitality. Vu relished in the admiration and envy of others, basking in the glow of his temporary happiness. Years passed, and Vu's fortune dwindled. He failed to notice as his expenses surpassed his income, and his wealth began to dissipate. One day, a great drought struck the village, and the fields yielded no crops. With no savings and no way to sustain himself, Vu was reduced to poverty. The lavish parties ceased, the servants left, and Vu found himself alone in his once grand mansion. With no means to support himself, Vu had to rely on the charity of others too. survive. He went from door to door seeking help from those he had once entertained. The villagers saw Vu's downfall as a stark reminder that indulgence and a lack of foresight can lead to ruin. Vu learned that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in wisdom and moderation. He spent the rest of his days living modestly, sharing his story with others to prevent them from making the same mistakes. 3. The folly of anger. Next, Lao recounted the tale of a strong and skilled warrior named Bao, who was known for his quick temper. Bao's anger often led him into unnecessary conflicts, and his reputation as a fearsome fighter was overshadowed by his inability to control his rage. Bao had a loyal following of young warriors who admired his strength but were wary of his unpredictable nature. One day, a minor dispute with a fellow villager escalated into a full-blown fight, and Bao seriously injured the man. The village elders, seeing the damage Bao had caused, decided to exile him. Bao wandered alone for many years, reflecting on his actions and the pain his anger had brought to others and himself. During his exile, Bao traveled to distant lands. Encountering various people and cultures, he met monks and sages who taught him the importance of inner peace and self-control. Through solitude and introspection, Bao learned to master his temper. He practiced meditation and martial arts, not just for physical prowess, but to cultivate a calm and focused mind. One day, Bao saved a village from bandits, using his skills not out of anger, but with a clear and calm intention. The villagers, grateful for his help, invited him to stay and teach them self-defense. Bao saw this as an opportunity to atone for his past and impart the lessons he had learned. He returned to his own village a changed man, seeking forgiveness from those he had wronged. Bao's transformation demonstrated that uncontrolled anger is a destructive force, but with effort and humility, it can be overcome. 4. The folly of envy. Lastly, Lao spoke of a woman named Mai, who was beautiful and talented, but consumed by envy. Mai always compared herself to others and felt bitter when anyone achieved success or happiness. Her jealousy strained her relationships and left her feeling isolated and resentful. Mai's heart was filled with bitterness, and she could find no joy in her own accomplishments. One day, Mai's closest friend, Lin, received an award for her work in the community. Lin's achievements were celebrated by all, and the village held a festival in her honor. Instead of celebrating Lin's success, Mai's envy drove her to spread false rumors, attempting to tarnish Lin's reputation. She whispered lies and sowed discord, hoping to diminish Lin's standing in the eyes of the villagers. When the truth came to light, Mai lost the trust and respect of the villagers, including her friend. Lin, heartbroken by the betrayal, confronted Mai. "Why did you do this?" Lin asked, tears in her eyes. Mai, realizing the depth of her folly, broke down and confessed her jealousy. She realized too late that envy had poisoned her heart and destroyed her bonds with others. Mai spent the rest of her days seeking to mend the relationships she had damaged, understanding that envy only brings misery. She volunteered in the community, helping others and learning to find joy in their successes. Over time, Mai learned to appreciate her own talents and achievements, finding contentment in her heart. She became a beacon of humility and grace, teaching others the dangers of envy and the importance of celebrating the happiness and success of others.